Welcome everybody to the 2023 Reg Dean Medal Count, joined by JD once again, mate. Thanks for coming in. It's pretty late on a Tuesday evening. We're pre-recording this to stream it on Thursday night. I hope all the clubs out there are either post-training, grabbing themselves a beer and watching it in the clubhouse, or for those that aren't in finals anymore, having a bit of a post-season celebration and following the count with perhaps a few drinking games. We'll see how we go. Mate, plenty to cover, so we won't rattle on too much to begin with, but we do have some prizes to give away. We got a bunch of stuff. What have we got left over?
So we obviously very lucky here at AFL Cairns to have a number of very valued partners, and in particular for tonight, Grilled obviously came on board this year as our naming rights partner for the Division 3 competition, and Event Cinemas as well. They've been fantastic. They always are asking for those, for some of our players and coaches to come in and do some movie reviews. So we'll touch on that a little bit later, but there's some double passes up for grabs, and you can go in and see whether you give some of the new movies out, 5 footies or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to have some questions along the way. Some of the things that we want to do though, we want to ask up front, and please comment if you're watching this on Facebook, put it in the comments on Facebook. What's the best nickname from your team? And explain the reason behind it. Obviously, there's some random nicknames out there. They're always coming from somewhere. We want to see if we can get the most creative and award some prizes from it. Ultimate Resi, that was something we did last year, though.
It was. We did Ultimate Resi. It got a lot of hits. So we're going to go around again. Tag your Ultimate Resi from your team or across the league, whoever it is. Whoever gets the most tags, we'll throw some prizes their way. So get their names in there either on YouTube or Facebook, whichever way you please. Mate, the other thing I want to hear about tonight is we got Mad Monday around the corner. We're already starting to see some footy trips roll into Cairns. I want to know what your best Mad Monday outfit is, or outfit idea if you haven't had it yet. So throw the outfit ideas in there. Photos, if you got them, love that as well. Any quality ones, we'll be throwing prizes at you. So get them in. And look, to be honest, any other stories from development grade, anything that's happened during the year that we perhaps haven't covered in the podcast or we haven't heard of, then throw it in the chat, in the comments, and we'll throw some prizes your way if they are quality. Okay, before we kick off, mate, I want to give a quick snapshot of the season, and I'm going to start with the restructure of the competition. We renamed reserves to development, and it was quite controversial. I copped plenty of stick for it, and it'll be a common theme throughout tonight. But ultimately, it's been really successful. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the clubs. There's young kids coming through, pushing for senior selection, getting quality senior time, coming up from that 17s grade. So it's been really good. And what else it's allowed us to do is create the Div 3 comp, which has given us plenty of highlights. And one I want to point out is our long-serving groundsman, facilities manager, Mick Cornish, playing in his what looked like gumboots.
Yeah, slipping over, I think.
Yeah, he was all over the shop, but got to play with his young fella Jack. So a bit of a highlight there for Mick and the Div 3. All right, into the development season itself. What were a couple of things that stood out for you?
Look, I think it was a really even competition. There was, 3 or 4 sides that I know Central's Trinity Beach kind of jumped out. They finished on top of the ladder, but it seemed to just be that one side could beat others, but not like every side seemed to have a little bit of a team that could probably beat them on their day. So they swapped wins, swapped losses here and there. I know there were a couple of draws. So amongst those top 4 teams, quite an even competition, which played out obviously in the first week of finals on the weekend with the Dogs going down, and obviously the Saints now will get their shot at the Bulldogs this week for a spot in the grand final against the Cutters. Yeah,
Saints involved in both draws this year. Central's only lost 2 games, and then now they find themselves in a prelim. It's the same 4 sides, or same top 4 from last year. Central's finished second last year and went on to win the flag, so perhaps that bodes well for the Cutters, who had a good win last week. All right, we've got 19 rounds to cover, so let's get into the first 7 medal count vote.
All right, so it's round one, kicked off on Good Friday up in Port Douglas. We had the Port Douglas Crocs against the North Cairns Tigers. In this game, 1 vote Kevin Canando, North Cairns Tigers. 2 votes Brody Francis from the Port Douglas Crocs, and 3 votes Jackson Hopkins, Port Douglas Crocs. Cairns City Lions versus the Cairns Saints. 1 vote Liam Nowlin, Cairns City Lions. 2 votes Brock Bish, Cairns Saints, and 3 votes Joel Docking from the Cairns Saints. Round 1, South Cairns Cutters versus Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs. 1 vote Vuk Chap from the Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs. 2 votes David Skeen, the South Cairns Cutters. 3 votes Keithan Rogers, South Cairns Cutters. Round 2, Menunda Hawks versus Port Douglas Crocs. 1 vote Scott Cooper, Port Douglas Crocs. 2 votes Elijah Capstick, Port Douglas Crocs. 3 votes Brett Kennedy, Port Douglas Crocs. Round 2, Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs and Cairns City Lions. 1 vote Eli Davey, Centrals. 2 votes Sam Hurst, Centrals. 3 votes Douglas Ryan, Centrals. Round 2, North Cairns Tigers versus South Cairns Cutters. 1 vote Patrick O'Sullivan, South Cairns. 2 votes Bill English, South Cairns. 3 votes David Skeen, South Cairns.
Round 3, Crocs versus the Dogs. 1 vote Caden Gardner, Centrals. 2 votes Lawson Dale, Centrals. 3 votes Chris Roberts, Centrals. Hawks versus the North Cairns Tigers. 1 vote Bronson Talbot, North Cairns. 2 votes Josh Gale, Hawks. 3 votes Jake Stefani, Hawks. Cairns Saints versus South Cairns Cutters. 1 vote Joel Docking, Saints. 2 votes Aaron Minnis, Cutters. 3 votes Alex McQueen, Saints. Round 4, Central's Trinity Beach versus North Cairns. 1 vote Chris Roberts, Centrals. 2 votes Sam Hurst, Centrals. 3 votes Lawson Dale, Centrals. City Lions versus Port Douglas Crocs. 1 vote Liam Nolan, Lions. 2 votes Finn Schreiber, Port Douglas. 3 votes Alan Mark Thompson, Port Douglas. Cairns Saints versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote Sam Musgrave, Saints. 2 votes Caden Egan, Saints. 3 votes Jordan Bish, Saints.
Round 5, Port Douglas Crocs versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote Zayden Tanner, Saints. 2 votes Adam Field, Saints. 3 votes Josh Smith, Cairns Saints. South Cairns Cutters versus the Cairns City Lions. 1 vote Bailey Lodge, South Cairns. 2 votes Paul Buller, South Cairns. 3 votes David Skeen, South Cairns. Menunda Hawks versus Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs. 1 vote Mitchell Sellers, Menunda. 2 votes Jai Ozane Jakes, Centrals. 3 votes Josh Butson, Centrals. Round 6, Cairns Saints versus Central's Trinity Beach. 1 vote Nick Goodman, Cairns Saints. 2 votes Jack Douglas, Centrals. 3 votes Harry Stephenson, Centrals. Cairns City Lions versus North Cairns Tigers. 1 vote Quinston Watson, Cairns City. 2 votes LeBron Watson, Cairns City. 3 votes Daniel Locke, Cairns City. Round 6, South Cairns Cutters versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote Fred Pitterino, Menunda. 2 votes James Crocker, South Cairns. 3 votes Bill English, South Cairns.
Round 7, Port Douglas Crocs versus South Cairns. 1 vote Deegan Lawson, South Cairns. 2 votes Keanu Montagnesi.
Yep, we'll go with that. Montagnesi, yep.
Crocs. 3 votes Mitchell Bowen, Crocs. North Cairns versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote Ripu Chris, North Cairns. 2 votes Darcy Grossman, Cairns Saints. 3 votes Brock Bish, Cairns Saints. Menunda Hawks versus City Lions. 1 vote Josh Gardner, City Lions. 2 votes James Hall, City Lions. 3 votes Liam Nolan, City Lions. All right, mate. We're on to the leaderboard. We've absolutely smashed that out. Quite happy with that, actually. Look, David Skeen, out of the blocks early. We did get a comment pre-vote count from Chris Ransom. Thinks the medal should be called the Reg Skeen medal if David wins. Don't know about that one, Chris, but thanks for the feedback regardless. And a couple of dogs, or there's a mix of players there, all in the mix. So not a large count by any player. Skeen's off to a good start. Look, a couple of shout-outs before we keep going. I saw Fred Pitterino got a vote there for the Hawks. Shout out to Fred. He plays development most weeks and then backs up and jumps in the commentary for us. So thank you, Fred. We've appreciated your work all year round. I think kicked a bag of 9 at some stage too. Maybe that's where he got the open vote for.
Still can play, Freddie boy.
Next shout out goes to Brock Bish from the Saints. Actually comes from Matt Lasky, who wanted to share his thanks for offering your head as a stepladder on his way to taking Mark of the Year last week. And what a mark it was.
Yeah, I think there might have been a photo taken of the car at the front of Kazali's that I think's his prize for Mark of the Year, according to Brock anyway. So nice bit of banter there.
Final one is to the current Reg Dean medalists, Jake the Snake O'Halloran, not polling well tonight. I think he might have played a bit of senior footy early in the year, the Snake. He is a proud medal winner, but I'm actually told, Jesse, that he hangs his medal proudly in his room, but it is overshadowed by his missus, who has got the Joe Butland medal and a couple of nice premiership medals next to it as well.
I think it's one side of the TV to the other, but as you said, Jake, he's very popular. I think he's trying to still plan his tattoo to get the Reg Dean proudly put on himself. So all the best to Jakey the Snake.
Yeah, he mentions that every time we speak to him, actually. Jake, good on ya, young fella. All right, let's get back to the count. Over to you.
Round 8, Central's Trinity Beach versus South Cairns. 1 vote, Boston Otchers, South Cairns. 2 votes, Jai Ozan Jake, Central's Trinity Beach. 3 votes, Harry Stephenson, Central's Trinity Beach. Cairns Saints versus Cairns City Lions. 1 vote, Liam Nowlan, Cairns City Lions. 2 votes, LeBron Watson, Cairns Lions. And 3 votes, Jackson Roy, Saints. North Cairns Tigers versus Port Douglas Crocs. 1 vote, Tobias Fatnauna, North Cairns. 2 votes, Sam Ridgway, Port Douglas. 3 votes, J-Ben Banan, Port Douglas. Round 9, Port Douglas Crocs versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote, Brody Francis, Port Douglas. 2 votes, Jackson Hopkins, Port Douglas. 3 votes, Mitchell Bohm, Port Douglas. Cairns City Lions versus Centrals, Trinity Beach. 1 vote, Douglas Ryan, Centrals. 2 votes, Lawson Dale, Centrals. 3 votes, Caden Gardner, Centrals. South Cairns Cutters versus North Cairns Tigers. 1 vote, Maya Chris, North Cairns. 2 votes, Isaiah Mogridge, South Cairns. 3 votes, Jonathan Panopoulos, South Cairns.
Round 10, Centrals, Trinity Beach versus Port Douglas. 1 vote, Chris Roberts, Centrals. 2 votes, Jai Butler, Port Douglas. 3 votes, Douglas Ryan, Centrals. North Cairns Tigers versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote, Tom Clark, Hawks. 2 votes, Kingston Chris, North Cairns. 3 votes, Tobias Fatnauna, North Cairns. South Cairns Cutters versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote, Brock Bish, Cairns Saints. 2 votes, David Skeen, South Cairns. 3 votes, Carl Petrie, South Cairns. Round 11, Cairns Saints versus Port Douglas. 1 vote, Brock Bish, going pretty well, Brock Bish. 2 votes, Jackson Roy, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, Hunter Wise, Cairns Saints. Menunda Hawks versus Central's Trinity Beach. Mark Niemak, Menunda Hawks. 2 votes, Harrison Berenger, Centrals. 3 votes, Bryden Robbins, Centrals. Cairns City Lions versus South Cairns Cutters. 1 vote, Tyler Hupping, South Cairns. 2 votes, Josh Rolfe, South Cairns. 3 votes, Neil Teal, that's a handy name, South Cairns.
Round 12, Central's Trinity Beach versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote, Josh Hutchison, Centrals. 2 votes, Josh Smith, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, Harry Stephenson, Centrals. Round 12, North Cairns versus Cairns City Lions. 1 vote, Quinston Watson, Cairns City. 2 votes, Tobias Fatnauna, North Cairns. 3 votes, Patrick Applin, North Cairns. South Cairns versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote, Bill English, South Cairns. 2 votes, Jonathan Panopoulos, South Cairns. 3 votes, Kiefer Rogers, South Cairns. Round 13, Port Douglas Crocs versus Cairns City Lions. 1 vote, Jackson Hopkins, Port Douglas. 2 votes, Mitchell Bohm, Port Douglas. 3 votes, Jake Yep, Port Douglas. North Cairns Tigers versus Central's Trinity Beach. 1 vote, Brock Attaway, Central's Trinity Beach. 2 votes, Josh Wilson, Central's Trinity Beach. 3 votes, Mitchell Hurst, Centrals. Menunda Hawks versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote, Ethan Holden, Saints. 2 votes, Brock Bish, Saints. 3 votes, Francis Braco, Cairns Saints.
Round 14, Port Douglas Crocs versus South Cairns Cutters. 1 vote, Sam Wall, Port Douglas. 2 votes, Hunter Simpson, Port Douglas. 3 votes, Jai Butler, Port Douglas. Cairns Saints versus North Cairns Tigers. 1 vote, Jackson Roy, Cairns Saints. 2 votes, Zayden Tanner, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, Luke O'Halloran, Cairns Saints. City Lions versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote, LeBron Watson, City Lions. 2 votes, James Hall, City Lions. 3 votes, Troyden Ross, City Lions. We now have a look at the leaderboard after 14 rounds. David Skeen holds onto his lead, but he has got plenty of dogs nipping at his heels.
Yeah, Harry Stephenson, a couple of 3-vote games and played a bit of senior footy this year as well. And obviously Brock Bish, a fan favourite out of the Saints. Mentioned a few times already. So very tight count.
Look, mate, one thing we love about the second tier competition or third tier competition now with Div 3 is some sledging. What's the best? You've played a lot of footy. You're a lot more than me, and you played some lot higher quality footy than me. What's some of the best sledge that you've heard?
Look, I think footy is probably one that's not necessarily too creative. I think it's a lot just about the physicality. I think the best one I've heard, though, well, I didn't hear it firsthand, but I've heard kind of secondhand was a cricket, and I think it was Booney back in the day, or it might have been Big Murph Hughes, but an English bloke kept missing it, and Booney or Merv had yelled out to him, it's big, it's red, try and see if you can hit it. And obviously next ball, the English batters hit it for 6, and he said, you know what it looks like, now go fetch it. So, I think cricket, probably because they've got a bit more time to think about it, they generally come up with some good sledges.
Yeah, I think that most of the stuff we hear on the footy field usually centres around players' rigs.
Yeah,
it seems to be a centre point. I know Big Kuss comes in the office and he's obviously he cops a fair bit, the Big Kuss, and lets us know what he's receiving on the field. But to his credit, Thick Skin and Big Kuss, he's got some good follow-ups and cops him on the chin pretty well. Look, speaking of sledging, I was told a story earlier today from there was a Port player on the sidelines feeding it to Wes Glass when the Saints were playing Griffiths Park and they were in their purple strip. And, look, before we continue the story, Wes Glass is an extremely fit fella. He ran a 50k ultra marathon in the blazing heat in the pre-season while everyone else is drinking beer. So just want to put that out there. But Saints are playing in their purple strip and Wes is running around the park, and one of the Port 2's players has just absolutely fed it to him, making sure he knew that purple wasn't his colour and didn't make him look any thinner. So shout
obviously,
out to Wes Glass.
former Croc player Wes Glass. So I'm sure they knew the buttons that might have got him a little bit off his game on the day.
Yeah, spot on. And look, speaking of copping stick, mate, since we have started this Footy in Paradise podcast, we seem to be absolutely copying it. And when we go around the grounds on the weekend, whether it's a cheeky comment here or there, or a wisecrack, or just a dirty look, really, if we've talked the team down or their chances on the weekend. And look, I guess at the end of the day, it means people are listening. So we welcome the feedback and criticism. But
look, we put ourselves out there, and that's the reason. Sometimes we have some hot takes, and I know we've got, especially in the women's competition, the Saints and Hawks, and sometimes we're seen as heroes when we walk in some of the rooms, and sometimes we are pretty much told to get out pretty quickly, depending on which way we're leaning. But as I said, at least people are listening, and it's always a good way to keep people updated on what's happening up here in Footy in Paradise.
But keen to get your feedback. If you think we're doing something poorly or we should add something, change things up, then let us know. We'll take your feedback on board and always looking to improve. All right, let's finish off. Final 5 rounds, mate. It's pretty tight, as you can see there. Multiple players in the mix to steal this one. Only a couple of votes needed to climb up that leaderboard. Let's get into it.
And we will add a few of the theatrics as we get down to it. And obviously noting, as we said, Skeen, Stephenson, Bish, Bomb, there's plenty of players all around close votes. So if we see them come up, we'll start to slow it down a little bit. Round 15, Cairns Saints versus Port Douglas Crocs. 1 vote, Michael Kilty, Port Douglas Crocs. 2 votes, Zayden Tanner, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, Big Kuss, Marcus McDonald, Camden.
And this is right Saints. When he got dropped.
Yep. Round 15, Kansas City Lions versus Centrals, Trinity Beach. 1 vote, Mitchell Hurst, Centrals. 2 votes, Max Tukey, Centrals. 3 votes, Bryden Robbins, Centrals. South Cairns Cutters versus North Cairns Tigers. 1 vote, Michael Rowe, South Cairns. 2 votes, Bailey Lodge, South Cairns. 3 votes, Bill English, South Cairns. Round 16, North Cairns Tigers versus Menunda Hawks. 1 vote, Tharaka Salmons, North Cairns. 2 votes, Jacob Stennett, North Cairns. 3 votes, Ripu Chris, North Cairns. South Cairns Cutters versus Port Douglas Crocs. 1 vote, Lee Staple, who I'll pause the count very quickly there. He was basically on one leg that day. They obviously had rested a few players and came out and kicked 7 after having not played all season. So shows the quality of the player there, Lee Staple. 2 votes, Tyler Hupping, South Cairns Cutters. 3 votes, Bailey Lodge, South Cairns Cutters.
Coming home strong, Bailey Lodge.
Centrals Trinity Beach versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote, Jackson Roy, Cairns Saints. 2 votes, Reese Mealstabler, Centrals.
I'm glad you copped that one.
3 votes, Thomas Sulla, Cairns Saints.
Round 17, Menunda Hawks versus South Cairns Cutters. Big win here for South Cairns. 1 vote, Tim Mackerel, South Cairns. 2 votes, Isaac Solly, South Cairns. 3 votes, Jared Prickelt, South Cairns. Cairns Saints versus City Lions. 1 vote, Jackson Roy, Cairns Saints. 2 votes, Marcus McDonald Camden, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, here he is, Jake the Snake O'Halloran, Cairns Saints.
This was a big one, I think, because that was the day that I think Snake might have kicked 10, and there was a bit of debate between the two of them as to who was going to get the 3 votes. I think they both had reasonable games, so 10 goals is a fair
There you go. It's been decided. And Cusso's Jacob here. Okay, round 18. Hawks versus the Crocs. 1 vote, best name in footy, Kai Karamatic, Port Douglas. 2 votes, Brodie Francis, Port Douglas. 3 votes, Jai Butler, Port Douglas. City Lions versus South Cairns Cutters. 1 vote, Tyson Williams, South Cairns. 2 votes, Jared Prickelt, South Cairns. 3 votes, Tyler Hupping, South Cairns. Central's Trinity Beach versus North Cairns. 1 vote, Dylan Rogers, North Cairns. 2 votes, Sam Hurst, Central's Trinity Beach. 3 votes, Douglas Ryan, Central's Trinity Beach.
Final round of the season. Round 19, Port Douglas Crocs versus the Cairns City Lions. 1 vote, Jai Bone, Port Douglas Crocs. 2 votes, Jackson Hopkins, Port Douglas Crocs. 3 votes, Jacob Zaboral, Port Douglas Crocs. Central's Trinity Beach versus Menunda. 1 vote, Chris Lee, Centrals. 2 votes, Harrison Berenger, Centrals. 3 votes, Chris Roberts, Centrals. Round 19, North Cairns Tigers versus Cairns Saints. 1 vote, Marcus McDonald Camden, Cairns Saints. 2 votes, Jake O'Halloran, Cairns Saints. 3 votes, James Howarth, Cairns Saints.
There we have it, Jesse.
There's the
Final
Reg Dean.
leaderboard. We've got a tie for the Reg Dean medal. Congratulations to David Skeen from South Cairns Cutters and Douglas Ryan from Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs. Those two fellas have polled 10 votes each. David Skeen has just held on, polled really well early and held on with 10 votes to the Reg Dean. And Douglas Ryan had a few best on ground performances, sort of scattered throughout the year. And it was round 18, polled a nice little 3-voter to level up with David. And we got a draw at the top, mate.
A lot of players near the top of that leaderboard. As you said, the tie, Harry Stephenson on 9, Brock Bish on 9, and Bill English from the South Cairns Cutters also on 9. So plenty of players in contention as it came down to that final round. But congratulations to David and Douglas on taking out the 2023 Reg Dean medal.
What we have done is just put some slides together to show the leaderboards per club. So we'll quickly zip through those just to give you an idea of how or who got the votes. So we'll start with Port Douglas. You see Jackson Hopkins there, Mitchell Bone, Joe Butler, all polled really well. Brody Francis as well. To Centrals, you see had a absolute smothering of players, and explains probably why they finished top of the table. But Douglas Ryan there, the Reg Dean medalist for 2023. Harry Stephenson, I think he had three threes. Yep. Chris Roberts, Orson Dale, Sam Hurst, and Bryden Robbins all up there as well. For the City Lions, Liam Nolan did quite well, polled on three or four occasions. LeBron Watson and James Hall. For North Cairns, Tobias Vatnauna led that count. Ripu Chris and Patrick Applin. Brock Bish, I wonder how many times he's led the reserves or the Reg Dean count for the Saints. Jackson Roy polled well, especially late in the year, as did Big Kuss coming home with a wet sail, the big man. Menunda Hawks, Jake Stefani and Josh Gale got some votes. For the Cutters, they also had a fair few players in there. Obviously, David Skeen, who won the count with Douglas Ryan. Bill English came home strong as well. Keithan Rogers, Bailey Lodge and Tyler Hupping, all 6 votes.
Very, very tight count. And of course, the winner will be presented their medal at the presentation night Sunday night at Kazali. So we'll be able to celebrate them in front of all the clubs, but 2 deserving recipients in a very tight count in the development competition this year.
Certainly was. Thank you very much for joining us. That's a wrap here for the Reg Dean medal count for 2023. Again, throw your comments in, stories, Mad Monday outfits, whatever you got, put it in there. We'll throw some prizes your way. Like I said earlier, we're keen for some feedback. If you think this is a good concept.
I've got one more story I think I have to share from...
Go for it.
The new umpire manager, Destin Edwards, that we absolutely, in terms of these votes, I tried to ask is what kind of feel did he get, and he very quickly responded saying, I don't umpire development games. But we have to thank the umpires that have obviously contributed, played their role this year. Their votes have obviously given us the winners of this count. Destin Edwards, he will be amongst this rank next year.
Yeah, certainly will be. Again, thank you. Open to your feedback. If you like this concept, you think it should continue. We received a lot of positive stuff last year. So give us your thoughts. And enjoy the rest of your night. Well done to the 2 winners.